So, ladies and gentlemen, playoff formats in most of the major sports can be quite controversial. Now, today on Sports Hall, we're going to be talking about the last year of the what he called best of three round for the NHL playoffs. So when I say best of three round, is that 12 of the 17 teams in the NHL made the playoffs in the 78-79 season. Now, because of the format, six of the preliminary round teams, eight of the preliminary round teams had to play off each other in a seeding format. And how it worked, the top four teams from the regular season got automatic berth in the quarterfinals. Now, ladies and gentlemen, how fair was this? Because of the merge of the Cleveland Barons and the Minnesota North Stars before the 78-79 season, the five teams that didn't make it to playoffs were no better or no worse than the 10, 11, 12 that made it. Now, the preliminary round matchups for that year were quite interesting. Philadelphia took on Vancouver, winning in 3 games. The Rangers took on LA, winning in 3 games, 2-0. Toronto and Atlanta Flames had played, with Toronto sweeping Atlanta, and Pittsburgh Buffalo, which sounds like a good quarterfinal match and should have been, with Pittsburgh winning. I really think that it favored the established top flight teams of the era, which would include the Islanders, the Rangers, Montreal, Boston, Philadelphia. The lower tier teams, even if they won their first round set, were too tired by the second round. Now, that season, New York Islanders were the number 1 seed, but unfortunately they ended up being eliminated in the semifinal round by a resurgent Ranger team that went on to lose the Montreal 5 games in the final. Now, Montreal were the Prince of Wales Conference champions, ended up with 115 points. They were on their last legs of the 1970s dynasty. But the big surprise that year, ladies and gentlemen, of all teams, was the Atlanta Flames, who entered the playoffs as the number 6 seed and are only 5 points away from the Philadelphia Flyers. They had a very balanced team that year, and it was a very interesting playoff set because Vancouver only had 63 points and made the playoffs. They were 53 points behind the first place New York Islanders, which equate to Major League Baseball, a team with 70 wins, or an NFL team with only 7 wins making the playoffs. Well, we all know what happened that year, ladies and gentlemen, that Montreal eventually won the cup in an upset. They eventually got past Boston in the semifinals after sweeping Toronto 4-0. But with the expansion of the WHA, they went to the 16-team format, interdivisional and conference play, which seemed a lot more fair. It had a lot of regional rivalries similar to what the NFL was providing, because the majority of times in the NFL, if you played your own conference with no crossovers, it seemed to build up more towards a championship game, and that's the format the NHL brought in again with the expansion. But you play the whole season and only 5 teams don't make the playoffs. A lot of people believe the NHL format was basically done for money, where the regional and national networks would get extra ad time or extra sale time. I know CBC made tons of money on Hockey Night in Canada promoting the multiple series. And technically, if you really look at it, 3 games in the preliminary round, 7 games, maybe an 8 game if the 7-game series went twice. CBC could have easily broadcast 25 games over the playoffs over a month and a half. The revenue would have been outstanding. So, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for your support for the Sports Hall podcast. We're going to look at a little different 1970 trivia in upcoming podcasts, something that's been in the back of my mind that I didn't put in my print column years ago because the format had to really be controlled by current events. But this sports file is quickly turned to my history column tribute to all my supporters and new fans of what we're doing. Have a good evening. Bye.